Hello, folks, and welcome to a quick coaching tip. This is Sean Meredith with Effective Leadership Coaching and Consulting. And today I want to talk about fight, flight, or freeze. If you haven't heard of fight, flight, or freeze, it's a continuation of what we've been talking about in the previous video with the lizard and the wizard brain when we tend to go into our limbic system or we stick in the frontal lobe. And in these situations, when you do go into that limbic system or that lizard brain, there tends to be a predictable way that one goes into it. They talk about fight, flight, or freeze as identified ways of going into that limbic system. I tend to add a fourth, flock. So I think fight, flight, freeze, or flock are four ways that we tend to respond when we're in that limbic system. So fighters are people who just do that. They fight. These would be individuals who are argumentative, who are always the first to speak, the first to act. That fighting is good because that individual can get things done. That individual can kind of move the needle. But that fighting's bad because it is limbic, so it's automatic. And that fighting often is just fighting for the sake of fighting. It's getting calmed down, getting out of that survival mode. The second one, fleeing, I'm going to jump into. So fleeing is individuals who run away. These are the people who in tense times just leave. They distance. They are unavailable. They don't answer your phone calls. They don't answer your texts. They don't respond to things. They don't show up to work. So again, it is a response for when we get into that limbic system that we can find fleers. The other one, freeze, is the three kind of common. So freezers look like this. They freeze and do nothing. So when folks end up in the freeze response, sometimes these folks are hard to gauge because when they go into that limbic system and they freeze, they actually tend to look like they're thinking or they tend to look like they're being productive with that time, when in actuality they're freezing. So I add flocking. I think that flocking, similar to how birds flock together. But I think if you look more at mammal species, so if you look at things like cows or herd animals, that when they get scared, they have a tendency to just kind of bunch together. So I think in humans, that flocking can look like needing to talk to other people when a crisis arises, needing to spread that story, needing to be close to people, calling people, standing in groups, looking for that kind of connection thing. So fight, flight, freeze, or flocking is the four main ways that we tend to respond when that stress meter has gone over the edge into that limbic system or that survival mode. So why is this important? I think as professionals, as successful personal individuals, and as leaders, we need to know when folks are going into those responses. We need to know when we are going into those responses. We need to know what response we tend to go into. It's good to know that. Now, we will go into all of them at times, but you'll kind of have a preferred one you tend to go into. And we also need to know when our staff is there. When you are in a limbic state, survival mode, or the lizard brain, if you want to call it that, the goal is to get out of it. The goal is to self-soothe, to regulate those emotions, to create that psychological and physical safety so that the individual can get back to that executive functioning, that higher order functioning. So those four ways are just ways for you to kind of identify when someone's gone into the limbic system. At that point, you want to shift away from problem solving and you want to shift away into the emotional realm of emotional regulation. So there you go. There is the tip for today. Let me know how it works out. Let me know how you might use this information. And if you do know where you tend to fall, let me know if you are a fighter, a fleer, a freezer, or a flocker. All right. Thanks so much. See you next time.